Well, hello again everybody. Now in the last episode you saw me take this apart. We managed to get power onto the unit and we managed to confirm that we think the processor was running and it was kind of doing some things, but what we couldn't do was actually start up that coffee making cycle. I've actually got no idea why this machine won't work, but I thought there's actually a lot of knowledge probably out there in the whole world of the interweb thingamabob. So what I thought we could do is, rather than me trying to fix a coffee machine, I was kind of wondering if we could have a go at fixing it together. Kind of consider me as being your hands and eyes remotely, and maybe we can make a little bit of a game out of it. For those of you that didn't watch last time, I think we'll probably do a little bit of a recap, have a look at the PCB, but also just take another look around the machine. So I'm going to start with the machine first. So we have our water tank here which plugs onto the base of the machine. So I'm going to plug that in, hopefully you can see that. That water enters via this black tube and it goes to a flow sensor here, and I think we confirmed it was a Hall-effect soap flow sensor. So this flow sensor connects back to the main PCB, because I'm guessing that it's important for the machine to know that there's a flow of water going through the heating element, because it could overheat. But the other thing that this coffee maker does is that it actually delivers different volumes of liquid depending on, I don't know what sort of coffee you have. I know some people have these very small coffees, are they espressos or cappuccinos? I've got no idea, I don't drink coffee, but I know that some people drink these very small cups of coffee, so they like their coffee very strong. So if you want one of them very small cups of coffee, you only need a small amount of water. So I'm guessing it's the job of this flow sensor here to meter the amount of water that's going to go through the coffee capsule and eventually make our brew. So flow sensor connects back to the main PCB. Now once the water has come into the machine, it looks as though we've got a pump, and it pumps that water from ground level, if you like, up to the top part of the unit where there's a heating element. Now in the last episode we did actually connect up an electrical supply. It's a 230 volt electrical supply. We actually connected it up to our pump and it ran, or at least it made a noise, so I think it is actually working. So we've also got these two purple wires, and I'm guessing that these two purple wires go to a heating element, a water boiler, which is housed in this top section. In fact, again, perhaps you want to know, shall we check the resistance? Has the heating element gone open circuit? Well, I don't know if this is the heating element, but I think that's a good call. Tell you what, let's check the resistance. So between live and neutral here, which I think is going to the heating element, we've actually got, well, we've got infinite resistance. So that would kind of imply that the heating element isn't working, or it's open circuit. Yeah, okay. That, I could of course be wrong. Maybe we've got an interlock so that can't start up unless it's locked. Let's just try that. It's possible there's a switch in this top unit. Maybe this is going to be somewhat of a short game for us. So yeah, if these two purple wires go to a heating element, that heating element is open circuit, in which case when you switch the unit on, I think the first thing it does is it gets up to temperature ready to make you a brew. Well, if that heating element isn't working, what's going to happen is it's going to turn the heating element on. It's not going to get to temperature, and that brings into these other two wires here. So we've got another two wires here, which two yellow wires. Again, no idea, but what kind of thing could be connected to two wires? Well, it could be a limit switch. I guess it could be 1,000 other things. You know what I'm thinking? Some form of a temperature sensor or a thermistor. Not exactly sure. So again, let's measure the resistance of that. 124k. I don't know. Is that kind of right for a thermistor? Not exactly sure. Sounds a little bit high to me, that. I'm just going to go back and check these leads again. Yeah, again, measuring open circuit to our heater. Now the reason that I think that these two purple wires connect to the heating element is, number one, they're made out of silicon. So manufacturers don't use silicon wire unless they have to. It costs more. And also they are relatively thick, maybe at least 1.5mm square section cable. So what in the top section of here needs a 1.5mm square section of cable? Again, I'm guessing it's a heating element, a boiler unit of some description. So Bit of a telltale there, isn't it? So turning the unit upside down, I can see an electric motor here. It's actually a fairly chunky electric motor. Looks as though we've got two wires going to our electric motor. That's a white and a black wire. Now the white wire is soldered straight onto the motor terminal, but the black wire doesn't go directly into the terminal of the motor. What's soldered onto the motor terminal is one of these electronic fuses. So again, maybe if the motor draws too much current, in order to protect the power supply, we've got an electronic resettable fuse here. Now what I believe the purpose of this electric motor is, it's actually to spin our coffee capsule. So I've actually emptied out the coffee capsule because I was getting coffee all over my workbench. So normally there's a single hole in here that injects hot water into the capsule, and then there's a series of holes around the perimeter. Well, there's no hole in the bottom, so you perhaps ask, how does that hot water get out of here? Why doesn't it just fill and overflow? Well, guess that maybe does happen. But the way that these coffee makers work, and the way they produce a little bit of froth on your coffee, is that as this capsule is being filled with water, it spins, and I believe it actually spins at up to 7,000 RPM, which seems very fast, but hence that's probably why we need quite a big motor here to actually make this capsule spin. And I'm guessing when it's actually spinning at high speed, the water is injected at the centre, but centripetal force forces the water through the coffee grinds and then out of all the holes that are drilled around the perimeter, and creates you a frothy coffee in the process. So moving on, I found another little printed circuit board which is connected back to that main printed circuit board. Now I'm guessing that whatever this little circuit board does is certainly more complicated, simply because the fact it's got lots of wires on it. Now noticing that a lot of these various cables, they maybe have all white wires on them, but then something like one red, or we often see black wires repeated quite a lot. So I'm wondering if they're using the red for maybe plus 5 volts or plus 3 volts for the logic supply, and then they're using some other colour for the ground. Not exactly sure, but all these cables are actually white apart from the one at the end that's red. So yeah, guessing the red one could be power. Now back to this little circuit board here. I wonder if I can bring you in a little bit closer. Let me try. Oh, it actually came out without too much as a fight, he said. Will that just come out? I feel as though it should, if I hold my tongue at the right angle and all that lot. Come on. I'm not certain, but I think the purpose of this little circuit board here is we've got a diode on it which is numbered D215, and I'm guessing that that's a photodiode. Now what I think might be happening is that this actual board here, it points up towards the capsule, and what I think it does is, I think it reads this barcode off the capsule. Now somebody said on my last video they thought that the machine wasn't starting up because it wasn't reading the capsule. Well, I agree, it wasn't reading the capsule, but I think the way that this would read the capsule is the capsule would have to be spinning. It would spin, and then these black and white lines would be read by this photo diode here, and that would effectively read off the barcode, send that information to the microprocessor, and I guess it would use that to work out, you know, how much water to pour into your capsule, because again, different types of cups of coffee have different volumes of water. It could also be, and I'm not certain, it might be that the company that makes it is actually trying to lock you down so that you can only buy consumables from them. So it could also be that if you put some unbranded capsule in there, this spins, it reads the barcode, but yeah, it doesn't make you coffee, or yeah, something else happens. Now I'm not certain about that, but it's the kind of thing that manufacturers do, isn't it? I've just taken a close look at our board here. Now I can see that we've got what I think is another processor, because it says STI on it, and that's one of the things that they make, and that's a 32F100, which I'm guessing is a small microcontroller, not one I'm super familiar with. To the right of that we've got our photodiode, and then we've got another diode here which is D201. Now I don't recognise this package style for a conventional diode. So what I'm going to suggest, and I don't know, I'm going to suggest to you that what this is an infrared illuminator. It's an LED. So what happens is this LED shines at the underside of this capsule to actually illuminate the barcode, and then the photodiode reads off that barcode, sends the information back to the main board, and then the main board can decide how much water this capsule needs, or maybe if this is well, if it's a pucker capsule, if it's one approved by the manufacturer. Again, not sure. So I'm going back to our electric motor now, and I've got the wires out. So what I'm wondering is, can we actually just connect a power supply to it and make it spin up? I'll be interested to see if it will do something. So I've got these probes connected to my power supply. At the moment I've got it set to 6 volts because I'm not sure what the voltage is. Let's just see if something happens. Now I think in America do they use white and black as their mains colours? Don't know, can't remember. They have a little rhyme, don't they? Can't be black dead, white something other. I don't know. I'm not. All I'm saying is I don't know which one of these is positive or negative. I don't know if it'll make any effect to the actual mechanism, which way the motor spins. So I'm going to go old school and assume the black wire is negative. Let's push that in. Well, is this going to do anything? Oh, well, what it actually does is draw about an amp in power. It doesn't actually spin up. Maybe we need a bit more voltage, or maybe a bit more power, or maybe a bit of each. So I've set to 12 volts now. Yeah, still not spinning our motor. Does it need a bit more current perhaps? Tell you what, let's close this up just in case there would be something that would stop it from spinning. Because it's possible, isn't it? Maybe there's something to protect the user from getting their hands spun round. Try again. Ah! Okay, behold the mighty spinning action. Okay, I think that's about as much fun as I can extract from that. I've got to admit, I'm really tempted to try and figure out a way of kind of defeating this interlock, because the opportunity of losing a finger live on camera is very exciting. Yeah, it definitely locked out, so do I have to press that down? Unfortunately, when I try and push this cup down, which I suspect is an interlock, it actually stops it from spinning, because at the top of the machine here, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, there's actually a spinny thing which is some form of bearing which clearly must actually rotate with the capsule. So when I try to push this down, there's too much friction from my fingers, it won't let it spin. Well, I think this quick video is about done. So my money is what's going wrong here is that the heating element, which I think is in the top here, I think that heating element is open circuit. And because it's open circuit, what the machine tries to do, it tries to get up to temperature. The temperature is reported by these two wires here. There's some form of thermistor on the heating element. Maybe it's doing some pulse modulation to actually keep the heating element at the right temperature rather than going thermonuclear and melting the house down. So I think that's what's happening is when you put a cartridge in, start the machine up, first thing it does is it preheats the element, tries to get it warm, but it doesn't get hot because the heating element is open circuit. The main control board knows that the element isn't heating up for whatever reason, shuts the unit down, goes into a fault mode with flashing lights. Do you agree or do you not agree? Yeah, I'm not exactly sure where to go next. What I'd like to do is take this top section off. I can't actually figure out how to get it off. There was a couple of screws up there which I've undone. I've tried pushing and pulling it and also swearing at it quite a lot. That didn't seem to help. So what I need to know is how to get this top section off. Now ideally, I don't really care about breaking this machine, because I'm never going to use it. But if we start breaking parts of this plastic, we might never know if we actually repaired it or not. So if any of you have actually had one of these apart and can just tell me how you get this top panel off here, I'm sure it's maybe just held on by some plastic clips, and maybe this you just prise it off, but yeah, I can't quite figure it out. So I'm not sure what to do next, but until we get this top section off, we can't really investigate that heating element any further. So I think that's a logical place to actually call it. So remember, I'm actually relying on your comments to actually help us fix this thing together. So do leave it in the comment what we should do or try next. Maybe we should just throw it in the bin and move on to something more interesting. Leave your comments, it's all good. But until next time, for today, I think that'll do. Bye bye for now.